it's reconnecting yourself to your body, because your body will keep the score of how you previously felt in the past. So your past experiences, you may not have processed them properly, right? That's why they're stuck inside your body. And it's so important to be able to reprogram your mind and reconnect to your body to actually feel confident inside your skin.
Hello and welcome to It's a Journey podcast. How are you healing today? Your host, Stephanie Naidu, welcomes guests from different parts of the globe with professional expertise in health and holistic wellness. Holistic means physical, emotional, social, and spiritual well-being. So what do all of our guests have in common? It's their dedication to help us with our healing journey and personal development. Let's dive into this new episode with our special guest and explore the answers in order to continue our personal journey's exploration towards healing and self-love.
Sophie Leung is a certified integrated trauma-informed positive psychology coach, hypnotherapist, EFT practitioner, Brainspotting Therapist, and Reiki Practitioner. She is also the founder of Sophie Leung Co. and the Thriving Woman's Way, where she helps ambitious women to overcome anxiety and feeling overwhelmed and empower them to own their self-worth, voice, and authentic power to live a successful life. Since young, Sophie always knew she wanted to serve people. She spent nearly a decade in relationship management, human resources and recruitment in multinationals such as Citibank and HSBC, where she helped others. However, Sophie felt unfulfilled and disconnected from herself, so she took herself through the process she now takes her client through to reconnect to herself and her true purpose. Sophie is incredibly passionate about serving and healing others, both individuals and in corporates, in her own practice using different modalities. Her signature system is called Core Confidence Unlocking. In this 17th episode, I will be talking to Sophie about confidence and women. Our topic today is Increase Your Confidence, Step into Your Power.
Hello, Sophie. I would like to welcome you. Welcome to my podcast, It's a Journey. It's such a pleasure to have you today.
Hi, Stephanie. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you to talk about, alternative healing methods, and I'm really excited to share my work and to talk about this topic that I'm very passionate about.
Fantastic. So you have a very interesting profile. You are the crossroad between a coach and a practitioner. Could you tell us how you became a woman's core confidence coach, please?
Yeah, so I was on my own personal journey. So discovering myself, and it's actually been 5 years or so since my eyes were truly wide open to see what I was creating in other people's lives, and that is at work or in my relationships and at home. And in particular, there was one relationship that had actually broken, and we actually broke up, and it really was a trigger to my own personal journey. And so for a lot of the years of my life, I was trying to discover myself and trying to survive and protect protect myself from danger, from the past experiences of moving from country to country as an expat kid, going to boarding school at 11 years old, and carrying within my body, the generational trauma which was passed down to me. And so for a lot of my life, I was exploring outside of myself to feel a sense of calm in my nervous system. But as the saying goes, the answer lies within us, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I was a banker before in my journey, when I started my career. I was always very driven in helping others, but it really turned out to be a personal journey for me to explore my inner world and go deeper into understanding myself and my behavioral patterns. And then through this personal journey, I then got to discover that my true passion was really in this work. And so when it comes to confidence, it was always something that I struggled with. And to own my worth and my power, it was always externalizing everything, from finding external things to fill in the emptiness and the lack of confidence within. And that's why I went on this journey. But and from being in the banking world to now, I ended up discovering myself, and also being able to learn that actually I want to help people, especially in particular women, in their confidence. And that was a natural progression, because actually the first intention was really to help myself, but then through the whole journey, then a lot of women started to come to me to ask about, what am I doing? Because I was really a very shy, person that had performed well, but at the same time struggled within my inner voices and stuff. And then they saw that I was showing up differently. And so that's why a lot of women started to come to me. And that's how I became a women's core confidence coach. And it's been quite a journey, because there's a lot of ups and downs, but I'm truly grateful for where it has led me to. And I've learned so much in the process of how important it is to understand your inner world and go deep into learning about your past experiences, how it actually impacts the way that you behave from your past experiences, because we learn different coping mechanisms through your nervous system, and that is what happens when you experience a traumatic event in the past, or past experiences that have happened to you. And so it's really kind of unfolding and really looking at these areas of your life to uncover and rediscover who you are. And that is what the core confidence is.
Okay, very good. And while I'm listening to you, I hear like a lot of like awareness that you built. It sounds like along the years, right? Through your personal journey.
Yes, it is a lot about self-awareness, and it's understanding why you are reacting in a way or responding to your environment or to other people in a way that may not be the way that you would respond, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I will use myself as an example,
Sure.
just for ease. So in my past, I would want to create a lot of drama. I was very attracted to, creating drama. And so, for example, in my relationships, I wanted that excitement because I wanted the attention, in the past. And that's the past version of me, right? And that is because, it all stems from the past experiences that I have experienced as a younger self, right? And so that's why it's so important to understand why you are reacting the way and you're responding to the way that you are towards your environment and to others. Because actually, the question is that serving you and others, right, to the best for the both parties, right? And actually, if I had asked myself those questions when I wasn't, I wasn't self-aware, first and foremost, because I was very disconnected. But if I had asked those questions to myself back then, many, many years ago, then obviously the answer would be no, it doesn't work that way. And then the second question is, why am I reacting this way? And then finding the root cause of why I am reacting that way. And that's why self-awareness is so, so, so important. I cannot emphasize how important it is to be aware of how you are feeling inside, the emotions inside your body, and the way that you are responding and the way that you're acting out in the world. Because we are all connected in this world, and one thing that we do will impact another. And so, yeah, if you want to create a loving and supportive environment in the world, then the number one thing to do is to be responsible for your actions and responsible for your understanding yourself.
And so during the session that we had together, and I know that through your work, one of your key pillars is science. And so you explain a lot of things, thanks to science. So can you tell me, like, how does science support your work?
Yeah, so it is actually really fascinating to me, because science is so important to understand. It's so interesting because we are not taught this in schools, the basics of our body, the way that we respond to an environment, right? It changes the way that our bodies react. So the basics of it is that I teach people about their nervous system. How does that work inside your body? Because when you understand your nervous system, you understand that we are mammals. We are mammals, and we respond in a way that mammals respond. It's fight, flight, and freeze. And then you've got the ventral vagal, which is basically when you are feeling at the calmest state, cool as a cucumber, right? And it's really important to understand your nervous system, because you need to know where you are at the levels of where you are at in the levels of your nervous system. So how triggered, for example, how triggered do you feel if someone shouts at you, for example? Where are you at the nervous system? Do you respond in a way that you automatically freeze, right? Meaning to say that you are completely unresponsive, sorry. So do you respond in a way that you're unresponsive and you just completely just numb yourself? Or is it that you start fighting against that person, right? When someone gets angry at you. It's really interesting to know where you are at so that you have a strategy in how you are going to shift out of this, because I'm not saying that you have to be in the cool as a cucumber mode all the time. That's pretty much impossible. But the aim of the game is to respond to your environment calmly and not react against someone else's triggers, right? And so that's where the science comes in. But most importantly, right, we need to understand our brains, our brain science. And the reason why it's so important to understand is because a lot of things that happen to us, the way we respond is actually involuntary. Meaning to say that our brains actually changes if we have experienced a traumatic event in the past. And when I say trauma, okay, please don't, it's a big word, right? Yeah. But just think of it as when you are a child, for example, it's in any sscenario that you didn't feel safe inside your body.
Yeah, so it can be little traumas. Like little. Yeah.
Exactly. It can be as a small thing that consistently happened. Yes, there's also, things like going to war and you have PTSD and stuff like that. Yes, that is trauma, but there are other things that are considered traumatic events. And so if that had happened to you on a regular basis, then your brain actually physiologically changes, meaning to say that parts of your brain changes in size. So, which makes it very involuntary as well. So one of the things that really stood out to me when I first learned this was when you are experiencing high anxiety or a lot of traumatic events, basically one part of your brain, let's call it, it's the scientific term is the amygdala, but let's call it the fire center, right? This actually grows, it grows in size. And why does it grow in size? Because your brain is trying to make sure that you are safe, and it's very intelligent because your brain is designed to actually keep you safe. And so that's why it grows in size, so that you are able to be on high alert, because it's the fire center. So it's like fire, fire. And so intelligent. Our brains are really well designed. And then there's the other part of it where you have the hippocampus. Let's say it's the long-term memory center. So the long-term memory center actually shrinks in size. And what that means is that it tends to forget to stamp on the memory when that actually happens. So, for example, when you actually have blackouts of a memory, that's what actually happened. So if you knew this, right, this is the science, and this is real neuroscience and neuroplasticity that we're talking about. But if we knew this, then we wouldn't be blaming ourselves for everything that had happened or what we did, because what happens is when your amygdala, the fire center, increases, you tend to just be on hypervigilance, and you tend to overreact to certain things. And then you start to blame yourself, and it's a vicious cycle of re-traumatizing yourself from the experience, right? And that's why I bring in the science to support my work, because then the client be like, oh, okay, so that's how our brains actually work.
Yeah.
We're not taught this in schools, and that's why I take it upon myself to be responsible and to teach my clients of this education. Even though, it's so easy for people to come to me and think it's therapy and I'm going to just, magically wave a magic wand and so that they can talk about their problems. But no, I want you to be equipped with the knowledge, right? The basic knowledge, so that you understand your body and why it's actually happening to you.
So I'm going back to the modalities, because I mentioned that at the beginning of the interview, and so you include various modalities in your session with your clients. Can you introduce these modalities, and why did you decide to turn to these specifically?
Oh, okay. So there's quite a wide toolbox of modalities. And the reason why I have such a large toolbox is because everybody is different. Everybody reacts differently to different modalities. There's no one solution, one-stop shop for a person. And even I tell my clients that actually, you should try different things as well, because I want them to have the best healing journey for themselves, and I can't do everything. Let's be real about that. And so when it comes to the modalities, I am always consistently learning, but the ones that I incorporate is basically to do with root cause resolution and symptom management. So the root cause resolution is really about your younger self, and really finding the root cause of why you are feeling the way you are, or why you are being triggered or reacting and responding to your environment or to a person in a certain way, right? And so the root cause actually goes all the way back to your childhood. Everything stems from your childhood. In most cases, it is. And so I use somatic belief reprogramming, which is stem to inner child work, right? And also I do hypnotherapy. So hypnotherapy and somatic belief reprogramming is very much about going deep into your subconscious mind and to be able to rewire the way that your younger self has perceived a certain event and has not been reprogrammed in your brain. So I'll explain a little bit more about that, because it might be a bit much for the audience to depending on where they are at their self-awareness journey.
Yeah.
Right. So when we are younger, we are pure and innocent, right? And certain things happen to us, right? As we grow from being born to now, right? And so when we are younger, certain events actually happen to us. And especially as children, we do not have a way to defend ourselves or protect ourselves, right? We need to create certain coping mechanisms, right? And so as we grow and there's an event that actually happened, and as a baby or as a kid, you felt that you weren't safe inside your body, that is considered a traumatic event. And that actually is stored inside your brain, in your subconscious brain, and it doesn't get updated. So that's why, as an adult, you know that you are a safe person. In general, you're not in danger. So that's why in hypnotherapy or somatic reprogramming, belief reprogramming, it's so important that you go back and address the belief and the perception of which your younger self had created in your brain that is now considered a coping mechanism, or what I like to call it is a protector part. Something that protected you when you were younger, but you no longer need it, right? And so those are the root cause resolution solutions that I have, in my toolbox, and there's a lot more to it. I do emotional freedom technique, that is the symptom management solutions, because emotional freedom technique is a very powerful tool that actually accesses your mind to reprogram and to release the energy in between the sessions. I think that is really powerful. And it's a powerful tool that you can use anytime and anywhere. Guided meditations are very, very powerful. And I also love to use quantum physics as well. That quantum meditations are very powerful. So when you use quantum physics and in the meditation realm, basically it is going outside of your body, because then it will really help you to create the life that you want. Basically, law of attraction, manifestation, those kind of things that you can bring in and create the life you always wanted. So that those kind of meditations really help my clients to develop their future self as well, because you're really tapping into the emotions of how it actually feels when you are visualizing your actual future into the present moment, and really reenacting it inside your mind, because your mind does not know the difference between imagination or reality. So that part, I find it really fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's why you can actually reprogramming your brain through that way. And there's quite a bit, I've got positive psychology interventions. So those are really about habit stacking and being able to incorporate self-care modalities and methods, and to really build upon a toolbox for your well-being, right? Are you taking care of yourself? It's really the basics, Are you having enough movement in your life? Relationships are really important. Human connection. I cannot emphasize the importance of human connection and intimacy. When I say intimacy, I remember I told you, Stephanie, not that way, but what I mean is being intimate with someone is just being open and being completely you and connecting on a deeper level. I think that is really important. So that's why I use positive psychology intervention solutions for my clients as well. And I do have polyvagal theory, which is basically about the nervous system and the brain science as well, and other things. In particular, I use internal family systems as well.
Yeah.
So IFS, as I will call it, is a very powerful method to really help you with discovering your voices in your head. And when I say voices, a lot of people will be like, am I crazy? No, it's not that you're crazy. Everybody has their voices in their heads telling them that you're not good enough, or you are not worthy, or, you should be doing better, all the guilt and the shame of these voices telling you how dare you do that, etc., etc. You can do better. Those kind of voices, everybody has those to a certain degree. It just depends on the way that they were brought up and how they were able to cope. And so when we come to, when we're talking about IFS, what we're doing is identifying these voices that you've actually created to defend yourself and to protect yourself when you were younger, and to be able to learn how to manage with them. I'm not saying that they will completely disappear. They will come in different forms after a while, but you get better with your self-awareness when you start your journey. And that's why I feel that IFS is a very, very powerful modality. And all these modalities that I have in my toolbox, I forgot about one, which is Brainspotting therapy. Brainspotting therapy is similar to EMDR. And EMDR stands for eye motion desensitization. And so this therapy is really powerful because it accesses also your past memories and really connects yourself to the body, right? A lot of times we are so disconnected to our bodies because we are only taught to think, right? We're not taught about the emotions. We're not taught about the feelings. And so, and also our heart, right? Our heart is so deeply important. And so it's so important to actually reconnect ourselves to our bodies and to our bodily sensations and to really sit with it. And so that's why I connect and use the brain spotting therapy to help you heal. in one of my own personal sessions, I only use myself as an example because confidentiality, etc. But I want to give some examples. For me, I realized, just through one brain spotting therapy that actually I had completely forgotten that I was once a confident girl. And and it sounds very simple, but it was very, very powerful for me to realize that. And so, yes, and I remember distinctly one particular memory that showed up for me when I was a little girl, and I actually stood up on stage and with no fear whatsoever. And so it's really using all these modalities to, one, understand your brain and your nervous system using science, but also it is spiritual in a sense. But I'm, if people aren't into the woo, it's not woo per se, I don't go so deep into the woo. It's really just understanding the basics of, like being a spiritual person. And being spiritual is really about your learning from your experiences and to grow as an individual to the higher self, being the best version of yourself. Right. And then it's also connecting yourself to your body, to your emotions, to understand what is going on. When you are disconnected to your body, you can't feel anything. And actually, that is the basics of being human. And that is the reason why we are living. We are living and we are experiencing a human experience just because of that. To feel, to connect with other people. And that is the importance of your emotions and your feelings. But a lot of people tend to numb them out and function from the brain, and that's it, right? But it's brain, it's, they say mind, body, soul, right? So it's mind, body, soul, and heart as well, in my opinion. So that's basically, all these modalities that I decided to put into my toolbox. I do I do breath work as well, but I wouldn't say that I'm certified or trained in it, but it's something that I very much would love to do, but one step at a time,
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's a big toolbox that you have there, Sophie.
Yeah.
So you mentioned at the beginning of this interview, that most of your clients are women, and I know you define them as overthinkers, overachievers, and perfectionists. What are the most common problems with these individuals? Like, what are the most problems they are struggling with, and how does it typically show up in their behaviors?
Yeah, so the women that come to me, they generally are highly successful, but they feel completely disconnected with themselves, disconnected to their environment, or disconnected to their emotions. And that's what they're really struggling with. In terms of like career, sometimes they're doing really well, but then, in terms of relationships, they feel that they can do better. And so, for example, within their love life, for example, or even the relationships with their colleagues or their bosses, those are the things that they struggle with the most. And even with family. So it's really very interrelational, relational mastery that they're looking for. right? That they tend to struggle with. So, for example, some of my clients, they have, they tend to be doing really well, but then they feel that there's something missing in their love life, for example, or they have a partner, but it's not doing so well. And those are the typical behaviors that I see. They are very hard on themselves, very hard. They tend to, want everything to be perfect. They have high expectations of themselves and of others as well. So yeah, that's where the relationship conflicts start, yeah. So that's basically what they come to me for.
Okay. And I mean, women have many responsibilities they are juggling with on a daily basis. And as a former HR professional, do you think anxiety and feeling overwhelmed is more common amongst women because they have to work harder to achieve their professional goals, or do you think the answer is in science?
Yeah. So it is more common for women to feel more anxious and overwhelmed because scientifically they are found to be twice as likely to feel stress based on the way that our bodies have been designed, but also because of the certain expectations of what previously a role of a woman was perceived as. So in our past, we were known as the nurturers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Being able to take care of the children at home. And so there are a lot more expectations, as you said, like in terms of many responsibilities juggling on a daily basis. So the way that we handle anxiety and overwhelm is very different to the way that a man would perceive and experience anxiety and overwhelm as well. So yes, I mean, it is scientifically proven that a woman is more likely to have stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Yeah.
Okay. And how, for example, with your work with your clients, is it something that you see? Because you say that with this woman, they are very confident in their work. So how do they feel anxiety? How does it show up for them, for your clients, based on what you have seen?
Actually, they come across very confident, but inside they are not confident. And what this, so in terms of the actual term for it is they are high performing or high I would say they are high performing achievers, right? But they tend to be deeply feeling from a lack rather than fully confident, right? So I just to explain what I mean is when a person, when my clients come to me, they are achieving really well, but it's because they are overdoing it, right?
Oh, I see. I see. So this is based on the some anxiety that they overdo? Is it
Yeah.
yes? Okay, okay, okay.
So it's actually what the actual term is high functioning anxiety,
Okay.
right? Meaning to say that they are high functioning, but they are very anxious inside. So I can give you an example, right, of what a high functioning anxious person would experience. So on the surface, they come across as detail oriented, right? But what they are really experiencing is they are overthinking, right? Rather than being detail oriented, they're just like, oh, what if this and that? And that's where the perfectionism comes from. And for example, people will see that they're outgoing, they're really helpful, they want to be part of everything. But what they are experiencing, they are really experiencing people pleasing, right? So there's two sides of a coin.
Sure.
Here. So, they come across super helpful, but actually they might have lack of boundaries, trouble saying no, trouble to slow down. A lot of the people that come to me, they're hardworking. They come across as hardworking, but what it is that they have a fear of failure. Right? So that's anxiety, right? High functioning anxiety. So that's why they perform so well at work sometimes. Like I have one client, she's doing so well at her current organization, but then, she ends up being burnt out, right? And when you're being burnt out, it's not healthy, and it's impacting her health. And and when she tends to overwork, she doesn't have any other life outside of her work. So where's the love life? I mean, not that a love life is a necessary thing, by the way. It's a question, generic question. And okay, where are your friends, for example?
Yeah.
Do you have hobbies? Those kind of questions. Other than that, it's like, okay, what is the meaning of your life, right? Yeah, so that's why they tend to come to me.
So I would like to revisit the session that we did together. And during this time, I share one difficult family situation that with you, and then you guided me through. And during this time together, I realized that what I experienced impacted me deeper than I thought. So what is a simple technique to identify when something is really wrong and we need to give it attention, rather than, oh, we can just ignore it and, let it go and just keep going?
Yeah, I think that it is a very good question to ask, because a lot of people will just keep on going until it builds up, and then it becomes a huge problem. And that's why it's so important to know how you respond to an environment and to know your nervous system, right? So the simple technique I would teach my clients is basically to understand their nervous system. So to really ask yourself, okay, so this happened. How am I feeling? really? At what level of am I in my nervous system? So just a brief education. There's cool as a cucumber, there's fight or flight, and then there's freeze, which is really when you are on shutdown, right? And so to be able to understand where you are, then you'll be able to know the severity of it, to know that, oh, okay, this is where I am. Maybe you're at fight or flight, which is basically where you're on edge, or you want to fight someone, or you want to run away from the problem, right? Notice those sensations. Notice how you are feeling inside your body and what that makes you feel inside. What are the emotions that are coming up for you? And it's really taking a pause to really feel inside your body. And it takes time and practice to pay attention, right? Rather than keep on going. And when you are able to notice those sensations, right, that's the first step. The second step is to really ask yourself, okay, why am I feeling this way? Where is it coming from? Right? Is it coming from a past memory, past experience, that experience? Is it something that I can deal with it on my own? Do I need external help, etc.? And that is the simple technique that I can share with you to identify when something is really wrong. Yeah, that is just the baby step, because a lot of times what happens is when you're at the beginning of the journey, you just leave it till it just explodes, and then you know something is wrong, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Until you cannot take it anymore. You know of this behavior, and then you start looking into it. Absolutely, I've done that.
Yeah.
So now I would like to look specifically into one aspect of what you do, what you offer, and that is the core confidence unlocking. So can you tell me about this program, please?
Yeah, so core confidence unlocking is one of my signature processes that I take my clients through. And the reason why I termed it as core confidence unlocking is because when you are born confident, and that's the core of you. You are born to lead yourself, right? It's coming from self-leadership. And when you're born curious, you're born innocent, you are born fearless, right? Creative, so many positive things. You're not living in fear per se. And that is who you are, really, with your lived experience, of course. But it's going back to that core confident self, right? And so through the journey of the various modalities that I shared with you, I take you on a journey and to unlock your core confidence, right? And it's really a journey of understanding yourself, who your authentic self is, understanding why you reacted the way you did, understanding your behavioral patterns, and shifting that as well to your authentic self. That's what it really is. The program is really coming back home to yourself. And that's what it really is about. Using different techniques and modalities. Yeah, I can have all the modalities I want, but essentially is core confidence unlocking is really about that. It's about kind of polishing the diamond that's underneath the stuff that actually, the dirt that actually you've accumulated over the years, and making it all shiny again.
So talking about the confidence, you share with me that something that comes back often with the conversations you have with the people is that they think that they know they are confident, but they don't understand how come they don't feel confident, and they feel like an imposter.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that a lot of my clients experience, right? They feel like an imposter, but even though they don't they logically know, right? So there's a difference between your logic and the way that your body feels, right? The emotions. Right? So you can know that, oh yeah, I'm actually confident, but you don't feel it inside your body. And so that's why it's so important to do this work, because it's reconnecting yourself to your body. Because your body will keep the score of how you previously felt in the past. So your past experiences, you may not have processed them properly, right? That's why they're stuck inside your body. And it's so important to be able to reprogram your mind and reconnect to your body to actually feel confident inside your skin. Now, it does take practice, but you know, the term as fake it till you make it only works so far, because your mental capacity can only go so far. It is actually proven that your heart space, if we're talking about electromagnetic waves, is so much more, I think it's like 100 times or so more powerful than your brain. And so the work is coming back to your heart space. The work is coming back to your body, connecting to your emotions and your feelings and sensations, so that you feel confident again.
Okay. So we are reaching the end of this interview, and then I have a last question for you, which is about your daily practice. Do you have one, and can you share it with us? Or if you don't have one, you can also share it.
Yeah, so I tend to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. And what I will do is I will do my daily meditation. And this is something very sacred to me, because I really need to feel grounded inside my body. So when I say grounded, some people may not understand what that means. I know that in the past I was like, what does that mean? It takes practice, but it just means that you feel connected and safe inside your body, right? And at peace. And so having this practice really connects myself to the body, to my body, and having spiritual practices also helps as well. I realize that now I'm not religious, but I realize that spirituality is very important. To believe that there is something beyond the human day to day is really important to me. And that's one of the daily practices that I have. The other one is to exercise, to have movement. It doesn't have to be intense. Just move your body. Yeah.
And
And
how do you do that? Do you do that, for example? Do you like exercise or like or is it more like more gentle like yoga, or how is it for you? Or going to, sometimes I have one guest, she said that she likes to go to the beach for a walk. How is it? How do you do that?
yeah, I mean, any chance that I can go near nature,
Okay.
that is amazing.
Mhm.
I live in Singapore, but I can take a bus down to, the East Coast beach, then have a walk there. Or yeah, I will generally either work out in the gym, but
Okay.
I don't really enjoy the gym. I like to be outdoors. Yeah. So strolls out in the nature. I like to play tennis. So tennis is good. Those two really get my body moving.
Okay.
And that's what I like to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Sophie, thank you so much for your time and for being with us today. I
Yes.
really enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
You can learn more about Sophie on Instagram at Sophie Leung Co, on LinkedIn at Sophie Leung, and on our website www.sophieleung.co. If you didn't have time to write everything down, or if you have doubts about the spelling, no worries. All the links are listed in the description section on our YouTube channel at Ujivati. Thank you to all our listeners, and see you very soon for more on healing, self-love, and your personal journey.
Thank you for listening and for taking time for yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast, share this episode with others on social media, or leave a rating and a review. To catch the latest from Ujvati, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Ujvati. Thanks again, and see you on the next episode.